Welcome back to Pop Tabs, keeping tabs on all your pop culture topics. I'm your host, Matthew Yapp. Joining me today is...
Emily Worrell.
And...
Jack Gillespie.
Jack, what do you do for Byte?
I am a reviews writer, a podcast up-and-comer, and I just have to say, a pretty upstanding, nice guy. It's nice to meet you.
I think so. Emily, what do you do?
I'm an associate reviews editor, and I'm ready to pop this tab.
Oh, my favorite guests, by far. You know what's not my favorite thing, though?
What?
Yandy.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, Yandy is a costume company who's kind of infamous at this point for they create scandalous Halloween costumes, we'll say. This year specifically, they made one that is in reference to the college admission scandal. It is an orange prison uniform and it has the phrase Mom of the Year X'd out and instead just says inmate. And so they kind of reference that is if you don't remember, there was a court case with Lori Loughlin and Massimo Giannulli, where they were allegedly paying over $500,000 to get their daughters into the University of Southern Carolina, which is a crime. And so there's been an ongoing investigation with that. It's been very big in the media. And so Yandy kind of capitalized on this, we'll say. What are your initial thoughts on this?
I think, my biggest question is just, who asked for this, you know? Did anyone want this? Because it had to go past people and they had to say, oh, this is a good idea. Yeah. Let's make this. So I'm just, where is the market? Who are these people? Who are you?
Yeah, from a profit standpoint, that could make sense, a couple months back releasing that then, because, that was the hot topic. Right now, you had to be reminded, oh yeah, that thing happened right now. Because not only is news just so insane nowadays that literally something could happen last week and you'll be like, what? Well, what was that?
Yeah.
It's just, it's so far in the past in my mind.
Yeah, I'm imagining going to a party and someone has that on. I would not get it at all. That person would absolutely spend their whole night being it's the college admission scandal. Remember Lori Loughlin, Full House girl?
Yeah,
not that Full House girl. The other one. I just
think it'd be about a murder mom. It's just okay, cool, murder mom.
I'm gonna be honest. I saw the picture before I saw the actual explanation. I thought it was a Casey Anthony thing, which is still
that was even more outdated.
That's also in bad taste.
No.
But I thought that's what they were going for. And so, I just in general don't think it's the best idea. However, they are not new to controversial kind of Halloween costumes. Last year, they did a Handmaid's Tale outfit, which it was a sexy Handmaid's Tale outfit, which Handmaid's Tale has to do just completely with the oppression of women and them being used as sexual objects. So
basically the worst thing you could make a sexy costume out of.
Yeah, and they did end up pulling that one.
Good.
They still did it.
They did. What are your thoughts on them kind of going for controversial Halloween costumes?
Just why?
It's a good marketing scheme because I can say the Yandy is the one producer of Halloween costumes I know by name.
Yep.
And I think this latest one isn't as bad as the Handmaid's Tale one because I feel not as many people have a personal connection with that story as they did with a show, something that's really easy to get a connection with. And personally, in my honest opinion, I find the costume concept kind of funny, but one, it's not really that relevant too much anymore, and two, it's just
Yeah.
I just feel it's making light of a serious topic that needs to be addressed. Obviously, this one is not as bad as the Handmaid's Tale one because they were basically just sexual oppression of women.
Isn't it
sexy? But it's still something that needs to be addressed in today's society. So it's just maybe we could work on addressing that instead of sexualizing it. I don't know.
Okay, well, I agree with your point, but hear me out. Perhaps, from Yandy's perspective, they are doing just that and addressing it. Because, as we've mentioned, that story has kind of fallen to the wayside. And here we are talking about it again. So do you think, in a sense, making light and jokes out of a controversial topic is a effective way of pulling it back in the mainstream and making it an actual talking point?
Well, think about it. Are we talking about like the logistics of that situation right now, or are we talking about Yandy and like their history with Halloween costumes right now?
Yeah, that's a valid point. I think that making light out of serious situations is something that we all do. It's an easy way to kind of cope with society. I've spent the past 3 years making jokes out of the presidency. Has it helped? Not really. But it makes me feel a little bit better.
I like to think it helps. It's like a sugar pill. Like, it's just like, oh, it feels better. It doesn't, but I like to think so.
It's like it's a very ineffective Band-Aid on a massive wound.
Yeah.
But I think I can at the very least appreciate what they're trying to do. Do you think that they should be able to continue doing this and profiting on this, or do you just think it's in poor taste altogether?
Well, I think that's their brand now. Like, they've made themselves like the face of like the controversial, kind of edgy Halloween costumes. So I don't know why they'd stop now. Like, they are obviously getting a name off of it. So I don't see why they should take away the one thing that they have for notoriety.
I think it depends, like, on the costume. Like, obviously with the Handmaid's Tale one, that was too far.
Yeah, that was the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's why it got pulled. With this one, I don't think that it's, like, so far that it would necessarily need to be pulled. And I assume that, like, this is their brand now. They're probably going to keep doing it because it's marketable. It's what they're known for at this point. But I think it just depends on the case, whether it's too far or not.
Yeah.
I agree. I think, honestly, it's kind of harmless. There are times when, like, yes, being, like, sexual oppression of women, isn't that, like, kind of hot, though? Like, that's messed up. But just going for, like, I don't know, poking fun at some rich woman having to spend $500,000 to get her daughter into college, which also, your daughter is not meant for college in that case.
And then getting in hot water over it.
Yeah, like... that's fine. Poke light of it.
It's a little funny.
It is. It's a little funny. And so I don't feel a real issue about it. And so I think it's fine to kind of dance that line. I just do think they have to be careful. In general, though, and kind of what I guess, people are buying it. People even bought People even bought the sexy Handmaid's Tale costume.
Before they took it down.
Yes. So do you blame them? They are providing a product that's being purchased. So is it their fault or is it the consumer?
Yes. All of the above.
The good problem that is brought on by the big C word. Capitalism.
It's a C word for sure.
There's a lot of C words, so I made sure to do one we can say on this program.
Yes. So capitalism, you think, is the issue here?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it is a notable topic that can be made a costume that can be profited off of. So that's a way for them to take advantage of, like, a situation that sort of exemplified a really messed up part of, like, our education system.
Okay.
They found their own way to get, like, a little piece of the pie. The money pie.
Yeah.
The money pie.
I'm always kind of big on holding brands accountable because at the end of the day, yes, people are buying it, but they are providing the product. That's in the same sense that, like, yes, people should be held accountable for the fact that, they're doing heroin, but someone sold them that drug, and that's also a crime. So I think there is a balance to the fact that if we are upset at somebody for wearing something, we should also be upset at somebody for selling that product.
Because if the people didn't make the product, it wouldn't exist for people to buy and wear.
No, I doubt we would have gotten a lot of DIY, sexy college admission scandal costumes, but that's just me.
Yeah. And I'm going to be the devil's advocate for something real quick.
Ooh.
From a design aspect, from an accuracy standpoint, the Handmaid's Tale costume was technically better because the costume for this new one, it's supposed to be like a jail thing. So, like, okay, so I can imagine like a jail jumpsuit that'd be like fitting, but they made it into sort of like a bikini style like design, which is like, do they wear bikinis in jail? I don't think so. At least with the Handmaid's Tale, they got it kind of accurate. It's not the hardest thing to get right. It's just a red robe and like
that they made shorter,
Yeah.
No, and you're correct. I haven't been to jail in a while, but no, bikinis isn't really what they're going for.
Yeah, so that's the one thing I can give to the Handmaid's Tale costume. The one thing. It got 1 point. Why do you think, in general, people are even interested in wearing, like, Halloween costumes that are sort of scandalous and, like, edgy, we'll say? What's the appeal there? it'll get a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're just going to dress up as, like, a witch or a ghost, like, people are not going to ignore you. They're just going to be like, oh, another ghost. If you wear something that'd be like, oh my gosh, they're wearing that, you'll at least be the talking point of the party. I don't know if it'd be for good reasons, but if you're the kind of person who just loves to grab attention through, like, edgy stuff, then that could be a really good way to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's just the whole, like, being the one costume where everyone's like, oh, did you see what so-and-so is wearing? You know, it's that kind of idea, like Jack said, but is it worth it? Like, at what cost, you know?
Yeah. Speaking from personal experience, I remember I was going to this costume thing, and there was a dude, and he was wearing a shirt that was like had a blood splatter on it, and it was like a school shooter victim survivor or whatever. And yeah, he was just basically dressing as a child who'd been shot. And so obviously really offensive, really messed up. And the whole night people were like, I was really offended by it. And the whole night people were mad, but he was loving it because everyone was talking about his costume. And so I think it is just kind of like the squeaky wheel gets the grease sort of situation. I think people thrive off that sort of thing. And I don't think it's wrong or shocking to say that certain people either do edgy things or hold kind of controversial opinions just for the attention of it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think it's just an extension of that, unfortunately. That being said, another issue with sexy Halloween costumes is we see a lot of sexy children's themed costume, in the sense that, like, you'll get, like, a lot of sexy Elsa or sexy... I saw a sexy Lucy from Charlie Brown. That was a weird one.
Oh, that's weird.
Stop.
Really weird. So what do you think it is about Halloween that people take the kind of iconic children's characters and want to make them just sexier now?
Okay, so as a female, like, if I go costume shopping, a lot of the times, like, those are the things that you dress up as kids, and they've turned them into adult costumes. But a lot of the times as a woman, it's like assumed that you'd want the sexy costume even if you don't. So it's like they just take the things from your childhood and turn them into sexy, even though it's like,
Gotcha.
I don't want that. I just want to be a
To
regular.
be
I just want to be a princess.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like, you'll never see, like, a straight, like, a serious, sexy man's costume, really. Anytime, like, it's just like, oh, it's a sexy man's one, it's like a bodysuit of, like, a muscular man, where it's just like, that isn't sexy.
No.
It looks dumb.
yeah.
But with women, it's just like, sexy Peach, sexy Daisy, sexy everything.
Well, and I think that, yeah, gender has a lot to do with it, in the sense that, like, so as an adult, Halloween's supposed to be a kid's thing, so how do you make it more adult? For women, the way I think a lot of times we, like, see a woman as she's an adult now is when she starts becoming sexually desirable, which that's messed up. And so I think just a lot of people's way of being like, okay, well, now this is Halloween, but it's not a kid's thing, it's an adult thing. They just have to make it sexy. And why specifically children's characters? Because like you said, I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, I want to be Peach, but I have to be adult Peach, because adults have to be sexy.
Yeah, and I'm kind of fine with just, like, the Peach or, like, the Daisy ones, because, like, they're adult characters. That's cool. When it comes to things like Lucy from Charlie Brown and making her sexy, that's where I'm just like,
weird.
that doesn't rub me the right way.
No.
That really doesn't.
No. So do you think it's wrong for people to dress as children's character in a sexy version for Halloween?
Situational case, but I mean, like, if they want to do it, I guess so. Just, I don't know, I'll look at it for a second, just be like, oh, that's but I won't bother them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's wrong. I mean, I think a lot of the times it'll be in poor taste, but I'm not going to make, like, a moral judgment on someone based on what their costume is. Because it's like, if you want to dress as, like, sexy whatever, sexy King Kong, I don't care.
Please do.
I've been thinking about that. I've been actually genuinely considering that.
Emily, I would love that so much. Here's the thing, for me, no, totally, like, go for it. Last year on Halloween, I was in Rocky Horror Picture Show, so I spent the entirety of Halloween in literally nothing but golden underwear, eventually fishnets, on, like, a stage in front of, like, hundreds of people.
I saw it. You did great.
Thank you. But like, do I care if you're trying to be sexy? No, not really. I think I think it's a little weird. Yeah, I think it's weird that I got in my underwear in front of hundreds of people. But like, it's fine. I think most of it's in just trying to have fun. I don't think anyone, especially even if they're doing like children's character, they're like, haha, I want to sexualize children. I think it's just what it is.
Yeah. Like, it's their own decision. Like, I'm honestly not going to be like, oh, make a judgment. It's just Halloween. It's a silly costume. Yeah. It's not like it's going to define their entire character. So I'm like,
it's a dumb holiday. It's not like Christmas.
It's not like Zebra Day. The best holiday of the year.
We all love Zebra Day. You know what we don't love?
What?
Destiny 2 right now. So Destiny 2 developers Bungie recently announced Destiny 2 Free Light, which this is basically a free-to-play entry point into the Destiny 2 series. So what it is it includes pretty much most of the expansions and the base game, basically everything released before Shadowkeep. Now, what that means is you can play the game completely 100% for free, the base game, all these expansions, a lot of content that used to be paid. The base game was $60, the expansions were $30 to $60, and so that's a lot of content that used to be very expensive, now completely for free. That does mean, however, that everyone who played the game prior to this has been paying for that content. And so some of them are a little upset, saying that they deserve refunds, that it's ridiculous that these people should have to play too. One Twitter user by the name of Robert Hatcher stated, quote, "Okay, you fat cash-grabbing nonces. I spent over $200 on this piece of garbage. Year one was tragic. Now you're releasing it for free? I think I speak for everyone when I say all Destiny 2 Year 1 players should receive full refunds on the wallet we went burning through to play this trash." So clearly, Robert's a tad bit upset.
He's passionate.
Yes.
And he's very British.
Very British. We love a nonce.
A nonce.
But what are your guys' thoughts on this overall?
Is it bad if I say that I think it's funny? Like, I just think it's so funny.
Yeah, I guess when like you see the reaction from Mr. Roberto Hatcher, it is quite funny that they're getting so up in arms about this. Because like games go on sale all the time. Like you'll see a game that originally went out for like $60, maybe like a year or two later you'll find it in the bargain bin for like $20. You don't find people getting angry that like the new Star Fox game is in the bargain bin when they had to pay full $60 for it.
And I guess what I can give them is maybe since it's so soon, because it's been like a year, and they're like, but a year ago, but at the same time, like, if I bought this amazing sweater like a year ago, I think I spent like $30 on it. If I saw it now for like 10, I don't think I'd be offended at the people who are getting it for cheaper than me.
Yeah, if I found a sale on something, found out there was a sale on something and I missed it, I wouldn't be like, grr, curse you company. I'd be like, oh dang it, I didn't.
Right.
My thing is like, if you were willing to pay that much money for it then, why does that change now that it's free? Because like you already spent the money. You already said, I have decided that this thing is worth this much money to me, so I'm going to buy it. Like,
right. And that's the thing. They've had it for a full year. And so I don't really understand, like, they were able to play a game, like, a full year before other people. And also, I guess my kind of confusion, I don't know why they think other people getting it for free invalidates their experience somehow. I think it's very much just, like, almost, I'd say, greedy in the sense that, like, no, if I can't get exactly what you get, then no one can have fun.
Yeah.
So do you think that this is going to be something Bungie has to respond to? Like, are players actually going to stop playing the game if they don't get their refunds? Or do you think this is just, like, a quick way of people throwing their fit?
I think it's just a fit. Like, even just like reading Mr. Hatcher's wonderful message. Like, in the second half, he just starts saying, this trash game. It's just like, why are you getting angry about people getting a game that you are saying is trash? Yeah. Or are you just saying that just to, like, rile them up, get Bungie all mad?
Yeah.
I think it's just, like, a small thing that people can get outraged over and then just be over it, like, in a couple days.
That's the thing is we already mentioned how, like, news moves so fast and like everything moves so fast nowadays that people are going to be like, oh, I'm not playing Destiny 2 for like 3 days, and then they're going to be like, man, I miss playing Destiny 2.
Yeah, but then again, these are gamers, and I have nothing against gamers. Let that be known. But I know that many gamers are known to hold grudges about certain things.
Whoa.
I won't go into any specifics because that could get me down a whole rabbit hole. But I'm just saying that gamers have elephant-like brains. They are be able to remember quite a long time.
Yeah. No, and I do think gaming in general is a sensitive topic. I remember certain people have in the past gotten offended over like female characters being playable looking at you Assassin's Creed. Like, what was that about? Like, people do. They get very up in arms and they're like, I'll never play this game again. And then if you look at Assassin's Creed's numbers, they didn't really go down. People kept playing the game. Like, I would call it performative anger in the sense that they want to shout and be like, I'll never play this game again because you've upset me, when really they're hoping they'll just get their way or get an apology. They're still going to play the game.
Yeah, and if it doesn't go their way, they'll just like get it and then like they'll just grumble as they're just like, all right, I'll start a new game. Okay, I'll get the expansion pack.
No, so that being said, something that Bungie and usually people who make games free to play is kind of shooting for is that hopefully they can get these customers who weren't going to buy the game initially, they can now get them in microtransactions and they can get them in future expansions. And so do you think that this is going to be a profitable move for Bungie? Or do you think people who get the game for free are like, nah, I'm just only using the free content?
I mean, I think it'll be profitable. I mean, the fact that they did it shows that they've probably done like a lot of research and stuff into it being profitable. And I can say from experience, as someone who downloaded Pokemon Go and was like, I'm not going to spend any money on this. That's not going to happen. It happened. So, I mean, like, even if players go into it with the mindset of, like, oh, I'm not going to spend any money.
Right.
Yeah, you are.
Dr. Mario, the new app, that thing's got me locked down. Dr. Mario World, it's flame. Try it. Here's the thing, no one was buying Destiny 2. Like, at this point, very few people were actually buying, like, the base game on its own because, like, they just didn't want to anymore. But now that it's free, people are willing to jump in. I really like Bungie. Halo is a great series, but I never played Destiny. I'm going to download Destiny 2 now because I'm like, cool. And if I really like the game, I'll probably get the expansions. And so, like, I think it's just such a simple and easy way to open it up to a whole new market of people.
Yeah, I don't think this is a thing that can work again and again and again. I feel like making every game of yours eventually free is not the best marketing, not the best way for your
Because then we just wait for it to be free.
Yeah, but I think in specific cases, so I guess with Destiny 2 in this case, I think it can be an effective strategy to just like re-energize sort of like a core fan base or just introduce more people to the fan base.
Yeah. Well, especially, so Destiny 2 is a massive multiplayer online game, or MMO. And so that basically means that as you're playing the game, in real time, other players who are playing the game can interact with you. They can do boss fights with you. That like it's all kind of like very much player and community based rather than like a set story. And so having more players online means an improved experience. And so do you think that having this mass influx of people who are now playing for free is going to improve the game? Or do you think that's going to have a negative effect, like too many people who don't really know anything about the game other than that it was free jumping in? How do you think it'll affect the gameplay?
I mean, I think overall, I'm very much like, I play video games sometimes, but I'm like a just for fun gamer. Like if I'm running into the wall, I'm like, haha, I'm stupid, you know? Like I'm having fun. So like, I think personally for me, that would be like an improvement because it would be other people with less experience kind of like stumbling their way along, but I can also see where someone who's more experienced would be like, oh no, all these noobs in my space. What do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from like a market, like a profit perspective, like they got a lot of servers they need to keep up to, to keep up these players. So like if there are more players, they're making like having those servers worth it. Because like if you have like all these servers but like nobody's on them, you're just watching money just like go down the toilet bowl. So I think like even if like it isn't like experienced players or just like brand new players, as long as they're there, as long as like they're taking up space in the server, I feel like they're valued new gamers in the MMO world.
See, I think this is actually where I think Bungie did slip up a bit because with their newest expansion, a bunch of Destiny 2 servers, just the day the expansion came out, servers just crashed all day long. People couldn't play. And so fans were upset and annoyed. And I think when you're just now increasing this even more by more and more people getting on the servers, they are going to have to pay for more servers and they have to pay for more server maintenance. And it's going to be a bigger issue. And so I think that they might face a little bit of trouble there. But I suppose maybe it can balance out through the microtransactions and more people buying the expansions. But I guess time will have to tell on that one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and honestly, like, usually, like, when a game gets free, like, usually you're just like, oh, yeah, free game. But, like, these people are just jumping into it without, like, having, like, the hype in it or just, like, being a previous fan of the series, usually. So, like, they won't be there forever, but, like, they'll still be able to catch, like, a nice amount of, like, new players. Not every single person that got it for free is going to keep playing.
Religiously.
Yeah, but they're going to get some more, so maybe like the beginning, it's going to be a bit crowded, a bit hectic, but I think it may calm down eventually.
Hopefully it'll calm down. You know who else I would like to calm down? Fans of the Joker. Yeah, so Joker...
Joker, baby.
Yeah.
I'm the Joker, baby.
So basically Joker released on October 4th, which is the day we're filming this, and it's causing quite a bit of controversy. The film itself is an origin story on the Batman villain Joker. He is being played by Joaquin Phoenix and is being directed by Todd Phillips. It depicts Joker as this like average, awkward, kind of socially inept man, and his continued rejection from society pushes him to become the infamous character that is essentially a terrorist. In the comics, the Joker does not have an origin story. He is kind of this mysterious figure that he doesn't really have a purpose for doing things other than chaos. And so the film taking some liberties and making him the reason that he is this evil, chaotic agent is because society's rejected him so many times, put a bad taste in some people's mouth. In fact, advanced screenings of the film received a lot of criticism from people saying that it was actually glorifying violence and promoting what's known as incel culture. Incel culture, if you don't know, it is a group of online people who identify as involuntarily celibate, and they tend to have a lot of hatred against women and a lot of times society in general. And so they are sort of supposedly being radicalized by this notion that society is wrong, and that pushed the Joker to become this cool, admirable villain. And so some people are criticizing the film for doing that. What are your initial thoughts on this?
I think that the movie, like, by itself, like, if you take it out of the context of the whole incel culture thing, like, it might seem a bit, like, just like, oh, this sort of narrative might be a bit touchy, but I feel like once, like, the incel sort of tag got put onto it, just, like, even, like, the smallest, like, match flame,
yeah,
that's when I feel like things are starting to get bubbling up and just, like, things are getting more and more hectic with just, like, the pre-release. And I guess, like, the release hype or backlash or craziness of both of them at the same time, I think that in this situation right now, I think it's getting pretty concerning, odd, sort of difficult topic to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even our friends at Byte at the movies, when they went, there was increased security and 2 state troopers at the movie theater for the screening because there were concerns about shootings and stuff. I think this issue is kind of difficult for me to take a stance on because I feel like I would need to actually see the movie to form an opinion about whether it really is like glorifying violence and like promoting this incel culture, but also a lot of the people who are up in arms about it haven't seen the movie. So
an interesting point to know is that previous to the movie's release, over 17,000 people reviewed the film on IMDb, giving it a 10 out of 10, which raises the movie's average score to a 9.7 out of 10. They had not seen the movie, and they were simply promoting it, giving it a 10 out of 10 because they were sort of wanting to support the movie that they felt was being wrongly criticized.
Yeah, and I feel like it isn't just like supporting the movie. I feel like it's very much just like, haha, got you to like media writers and stuff like that. Because I feel like the internet, they love to like dunk on these kind of situations. So like, I feel that's just like out of spite of just like people saying like, hey, maybe we should think about this in a different way that might not completely subscribe to how you want to look at it. And then they'll be like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go to IMDb, I'm going to 10 it, I'm going to be a nuisance on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a reviews person, you know, Like, I take integrity with that kind of stuff seriously. Like, our section has never actually given a piece of media a 10 out of 10 because that's a perfect score. You're saying that, like, the movie is perfect. It couldn't be any better, you know?
And the only movie that does that is Juno.
You are so correct.
The only one.
You are so correct. That was my Halloween costume last year.
Nice.
The pregnant girl?
What?
The pregnant girl?
Yes.
Ellen Page is so much more than a pregnant girl. Anyway,
Oh my
sorry. I'm sorry.
So true. But, what was I saying?
You were saying that you would
I
never get
started
anything at 10
thinking
out of
about
10.
Ellen Page.
Awesome there.
That's understandable.
Yeah, so it's just like they really could have just waited for the movie to come out and seen what they actually thought of it. But, like, no, instead you gotta go being ignorant on the internet, which, like, why?
So I will say I actually fully understand the frustrations from both sides, because obviously we don't want anything that promotes violence and it creates, like, this kind of, like, incel culture. But at the same time, I do think it is unfair that a lot of people are completely writing off the movie without seeing it because certain people have said that, well, it promotes violence, it does this. And I do think that you have to give the movie a fair shot. For people just to write it off completely and say this movie shouldn't be released because some critics felt this way, I think that's wrong. And I do think certain critics really liked the movie. In fact, it did win Venice Film Festival. And so it's being kind of praised by certain people and denounced by others. And so I think it's wrong for either side to just flat out be like, it's amazing or it's terrible. I think it's a media that needs to stand on its own. You know what I mean? That being said, if it is actually promoting violence, and it does seem at the very least it's promoting a lot of chaos, critics who had seen advanced screenings and given it a so-so score or had said that it was promoting violence, they have been receiving death threats. And according to Alyssa Wilkinson for Vox, she said that they've been getting influxes of people sending hate.
Wow.
So at the very least, we do know that this movie is causing at least a lot of negativity. Yeah. Do you think that the movie is to blame for that, or can it be held accountable for what fans of the movie do?
Well, I think the media flurry of Joker definitely didn't help. I feel like this isn't like something that has seen no precedent. Like the girl that played Rose in the new Star Wars movie,
yes.
She got so much hate. She had to deactivate her account.
Yes.
Like I feel like, especially like the Star Wars universe, I feel like the latest movie, the latest main movie, it got so much hate. It just caused so much drama within like the with the actors involved. And then like there's Brie Larson of Captain Marvel, who definitely got her own fair share of criticism, a lot of it, in my opinion, kind of in bad faith criticism. So I think this sort of just like huge death threats, backlash, just absolute hatred from like a huge community of people, it isn't without precedent, but like it's definitely not. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good, folks. Death threats aren't good, folks.
Death threats aren't good.
It's breaking news. Death threats, they ain't good.
Not good.
We give it a 0 out of 10, and we at Byte usually don't give 0 out of 10 to reviews. So this is a rare occasion.
So
0 out of 10.
Byte officially, we do not endorse death threats, so that's good. On the notion of this, I think media stands completely separate from what it creates in society. And that's not to say that like what it creates in society doesn't matter. But for example, the movie Love, Simon, when it was coming out, a lot of people got really up in arms. Some people were sending a lot of homophobic slurs to the cast. They were doing all these things. But Love, Simon on its own, it's not responsible for that. I don't think it's fair to say that Love, Simon's creating homophobia. In the same sense, I don't think it's fair to say that Joker is creating violence. They are things that are happening as a result of this, but I don't think it's fair just to say that Todd Phillips owes people an apology for it. In the same sense, I don't think it's fair that the creators of Love, Simon should have to apologize for people being homophobic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's always going to be hateful people in the world, unfortunately. And they're always going to be looking for a new reason to be hateful and to, spread negativity to others. And just because they found this and they latched onto it doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad piece of media. It might be. I mean, I haven't seen it, but
I'm going to watch it and I'll decide if I like it or not. And maybe I end up loving it. Maybe it's my favorite movie. Maybe I think it's terrible. And as a lot of DC movies are. Justice League, man, what were you doing? I was excited. But we'll see. That being said, what are your guys' closing thoughts on this or anything else we talked about today?
you go see the Joker, form your own opinion about it. Just try to remove all the icky stuff surrounding it and just enjoy it for what it is, if you can.
Yeah, and like even if like the whole just like media hullabaloo, I don't even know if that's a word.
Hullabaloo.
I don't know. It's a lot of
That's the one.
It's a lot of syllables. Even if like all this like madness of the media about Joker, even it does leave a sour taste in your mouth. It's not the worst thing to just not go and see it. Like you can save your money. Like movie theaters can cost a lot. Do you know how much money like candy and soda and all that stuff costs? And it's not good for you.
I tried to get a water at the movie theaters last time. $4. $4 for a small water. I was mad. I was like, fine, I'll go drink the rusty water from the water fountain. Also, Muncie, please get the rust out of the water here. It's getting rough.
Yeah, I don't like rust flavoring in my water.
No,
like it's the second worst flavoring you can add to water, other than like the flavor of LaCroix.
Oh,
you are so correct.
My thoughts, Joker. I'd go see it yourself. I'll watch it. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I don't think it's anyone's fault for the way people are reacting to it. Destiny 2, go play it. I know I'm going to. And the college admission scandal, probably don't wear it. But yeah, that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Matthew Yapp. Joining me today was
Emily Worrell
and
Jack Gillespie.
Thanks, guys. Pop dab. Wonderful.
The first episode of Remixed on Byte.
You still doing that hand thing? In the conversation.
We just
Cameras.
talk.
And I'm not scared. I'm not getting nervous, sweaty, so we good.